do y'all think that with women it's more interpretation or is it more delusion?
I'll answer. It's definitely delusion.
Hmm.
Because in their mind, well, I say delusion because even though I agree that it's a self-esteem thing, right?
Mhm.
Why would I consider that I'm less than what I actually am?
Mhm.
That's their main argument. Why would I not consider myself a 10? Also, there's another reason why it's delusional is because the rating was only on looks. But when you talk to women, other things go into the thing. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
how
yeah.
I look now, you know, how I feel about myself, these
That's
things, because they'll ask the women multiple times, hey, we're just talking about looks. They'd be like, no, I'm a 10. So I think
this
there's a
nigga got
level
the
of
Arsenio
delusion.
Hall finger.
Let me see what this hand Marcus is bringing up. Go ahead, bro.
That's proof it's not delusion.
That is proof that it's
No.
delusion.
Why I'm saying this, y'all see my wounds. That's proof it's not delusion because if they felt that they were genuinely a 10, they wouldn't add explanations for why it's necessary. They're adding additional context to make what they're saying seem true because they know it's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but that further adds to the fact that
I
it's
see you,
delusion
Marcus.
because
Over there
you
thinking.
know the answer, but you choose not to give the answer, which is why I know it's
Interpretation.
delusion.
No, it's interpretation. Delusion would be if they
So-
truly believed it.
So
But they
actually,
don't.
But sometimes
I
you lie to
see what
yourself enough
you're saying.
that you believe it.
Oh, hey, I ain't gonna lie, HD. He pulling me over to the interpretation side right now.
actually, I'd say it's a bit of both. And
Okay,
I
you gotta pick one. We ain't doing that.
no, hold on, and I'll explain why. There are delusional women who truly believe that they are 5'7", 364 pounds, and they truly believe that they are a 10 and a plus size model. We have seen it several times in this space, and they don't give any context as to no, my personality. Oh no, they'll say things like a guy will fly me out.
Mhm.
That is 100% delusion. That is delusion. Now, on the other hand, those that give that context, and this is where I agree with Marcus, is there are caveats to their 10. There are caveats to their 9, even if they're 3. No, my personality is great. I do all of this X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that's the interpretation, but that's not what the question actually is. The actual question that's being asked of you is fresh face, out of the shower. What would you rate yourself? But they do give those caveats often. But I think that same amount of, I think it's 50% of the women actually are highly delusional, and 50% of the women is all in the interpretation of what they see. I firmly believe that because I've seen both,
AP,
a lot of both in this space.
let me ask you a question, AP. If you ask me how tall I am and I say I'm 6 feet with Jordans on, is that delusion or is that interpreting what I need to say in order to get to the number I want to be at?
That's delusion because you're 6'7" without Jordans.
No, not me specific. I'm talking about if I'm 5'11" and I say I'm 6'1" with shoes on, is that delusion or is that me trying to make it seem like I'm the size I would like to
You
be?
see what he doing, HD?
I wasn't talking about myself.
He working this one.
So no, with that, I think it's intentional avoidance. Because what you're saying is, I'm not really 6 feet tall, but I can be.
Mhm.
Like,
That's what they
and you are,
doing.
and the way you're answering the question is, you know the truth. You know that you are really 5'11". You know it. But if I put on shoes, baby, I got
What
your
I'm
6
saying,
feet.
they communicate it like this. I'm 6'1". When I put my shoes on, I'm 6'1", so I'm 6'1". That's how they
Yeah.
answering that question.
That's a fact.
So that
You
means
know what
to
they do
me
with
that
that?
interpretation isn't the right answer.
It's on my
Maybe
head.
I
It's my
understand what you're meaning by interpretation, but interpretation ain't correct.
maybe that's not the
Well,
word,
what
but
is
what I'm
it
saying
then?
is it's not pure delusion.
Yeah,
You
because
could find out a better word.
We can let it's not pure delusion slide, but interpretation is not the right word. It's not.
Wait, HD, look, the definition of delusion is a false belief or judgment about external reality held incontrovertible evidence to the contrary. Held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary. The key word in this is a false belief, right? And I think that's why, even if I want to stay on the delusional side, which I do, the argument that Marcus made is
It's a
at
good
this
one.
point he's winning it, because you can't argue that it's a belief when you're
It
given
is a belief
qualifiers, right?
because the women be believing it.
Say it again.
It is a belief because the women do believe. Now, that's not to say that some of
Not
the
if they
women
don't though. That's the point. You saying that you
no,
believe that
they
they do,
do.
but if
They
they did, why would
literally
they
will
say,
look at a guy and be like, "You don't qualify for me because I'm a 10."
nah, I'm gonna give you the better one. I'm gonna give you one, the one that's in my head that's making me think Marcus is right, because I've heard this so many times on podcasts.
Well,
So
we agree
what do you
it's
rate
not full
yourself on a
delusion.
scale of 1 to 10, right? They'll say, I'm a 10. And then somebody might be like, nah, come on now, you ain't no 10. And they'll be like, but see, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I came from, right? They'll start saying all this other stuff that don't have nothing to do with whether or not they face actually a 10.
Yeah, and
This is
then
what
they
I'm saying.
redirect them. And then they redirect them and say, "We're only talking about physical appearance."
Absolutely.
Right?
And they won't
And
accept it.
that same woman will be like, "Still, I'm a 10."
That's a
That's
fact.
proof. That's the proof right
That's
there.
the fact that,
Oh.
and she's saying that based on her interpretation. She is okay. She may be delusional in her interpretation. You know why? Because she's refused. Wait, listen. No, I'm gonna give it to you. Because she's refusing, right, to accept the actual interpretation of the question. So that is delusional, right? In itself. The fact that you're refusing to accept the interpretation of the question. You have it in your mind that you're just going to believe that the actual question means this. When the person is telling you, no, it does not mean that. It doesn't mean your personality. It doesn't mean what you've been through, what you came through, or that you worked out and made your body better. It means, what do you look like in the face? Like AP said, fresh face, out the shower with no makeup on. What's popping with you? Right? So I don't know, but I just think Marcus made a hell of a case.
Listen, Marcus is right.
I'm
It's
impressed.
not full delusion. We all agree. I say interpretation is not the right word.
Let me look it up because I don't know.
And the only reason we was using interpretation because I was
That's
saying
right.
that's how they communicate. So I wasn't harping on it. It just got pulled into it. But the general thing was that my initial statement was that the way women communicate, once they've said something, this is how they perceive it, and they can't back up off of it because they feel like it's them admitting or saying they have low self-esteem or devaluing themselves by saying a lower number than what they initially said or their peers say. So that's why when somebody in the group would say I'm a 7, the first person to say like she a 6 or a 7, the other girl's number will radiate closer to that, and they may kind of judge based off of hers, but they don't want to be the girl in the group that say you don't want to have a lower number than the people that went before you, like in those specific settings. Now, what I found interesting is the women that probably actually are 10s say something like they're 8. They be modest about it.
Okay.
Lower their value
Based on the definition,
ground.
real quick, based on the definition, I'm gonna say this. I see what you're saying, HD, but if we being fair, what Marcus originally said was that it was
Fair.
the
Who wants
interpretation.
to be fair?
Wait, listen, I do, because I like debates. But Marcus originally said that their interpretation of the question. That was specifically what he said. So I think to that measure, he would still be correct. If what you're doing, you have this woman sitting in front of you, blank slate. First thing you ask us, what do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? She said 10. You question her like, you really think you're a 10? And then she go to those caveats, that would be interpretation.
But then
That's
they
what that
clarify.
would be.
And
Because
they
now
say,
she
hey,
has to
it's
explain why it is.
physical looks.